It's Mike again with the Impossible Puzzles Show. Good Lord, it is episode 98, and I'm joined by the lovely bearded yarmulke wearing Elie Goldring. Elie, tell us all about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me on. So, Elie Goldring here, founder of In and On, growth strategist, and we do operation management services. Young dyslexic boy, been a visionary all my life, sat in the business development, sales leadership seat for 20 years. Did some EOS implementation for a couple of years and then decided to launch my own business, I should say, after many, many years, and love working with individuals. My focus is to shift the mindset and bring in a large volume of energy, positive energy, to infuse the growth ability.
Fascinating, fascinating. And you publicly, I know you. You're the guy who always goes around and says, I'm dyslexic. I was dyslexic. How come you came so far? You came out of your shell. You want to share that with everyone. Why?
Why? So I think it was a reflection, I should say, from others that started cheering it and coming out of their shell, like Richard Branson and others, when I was about 25 years old. But that's really when I discovered the gift of dyslexia. And at that point, I got healed and I recognized some of the strengths and the areas of excellence that it brings to uh, people like myself. Very, very driven individuals. Obviously, yes, there are some setbacks and areas of struggle, and that only makes you stronger and advances your abilities. When I learned from others that it's common around the world, I chose a couple of years later to be a strong advocacy for it and talk about it because I lived with that shame and with the neglect of its unique ability and its strength for so many years that one of my missions is to bring that out from others. Like, don't live with that shame. You're not stuck. Surround yourself with the right people. Uh, Go out and get help. You know, there's help available. It's in each person's uh, within their own boundaries, I should say, that they are able to get the
Yes.
resources that are available for them. So I just love talking about it, and I think that's my uh, inner core that goes that goes there because of being able to inspire people to tap into their unique ability.
Fascinating. And neurodiversity and dyslexia and autism, ADHD. I half the people who've come on and let me bother them for half an hour or 45 minutes. They've all behind, all very successful, very talented, or everything from the venture capitalists to film producers to professors of mathematics to insane innovators, myself included. And even as we're talking, I'm fidgeting with talk about autism and crazy brainology. I got all sorts of fidgets I'm always fidgeting with, and you also did podcasting. Why did you do your podcast?
So my podcast was Grow Through Positivity. I took a pause on it. I do have to bring it back to life. It was to infuse a positive vibe on LinkedIn specifically. So I chose to do it under 14 minutes so it could stream live and be active and allow people to grow from other people's wisdom. So, as I mentioned, my why and what I'm so passionate about is to tap into people's unique ability by inspiring them, for them to be able to feel fulfilled, to be able to help others. So, tying that all together, uh, allowing people to share their story inspires other people. It inspires me. I get to learn from those that I interviewed. I made not some, but so many great relationships just by interviewing other fascinating individuals. you mentioned ADHD and autism and all these different unique factors of how brains are developed or built or created. I don't know which one yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. I call that, I summarized it with one big word called driven. It actually comes from Dr. Douglas Brackman. That's one of his titles, I'm going to call it, for all those that are similar to us with high energy, creative thinkers, big problem solvers, have a tremendous amount of willpower to conquer something or to develop something. So growth through
Fascinating.
positivity. I got to get back to it. I got to
It's
block time
okay.
out.
I,
Yeah.
I, I don't mean to, force you to. You
No.
have, you've done hundreds upon hundreds of episodes. This is a lot of work to schedule, to film. You have to
Yeah.
wrestle people to get them to come on if they're forgetful. How many times? Oh, Merker, I forgot, I forgot. I'm like, you begged me to come on. I had to set up the booking and the microphone and get the video ready. It's like, can we do it again? I'm like, okay. And then again, oh, Merker, I forgot. But podcasting is complicated also. Right now, I'm sitting in my basement. My wife took the kids on the Canada's Wonderland for the day, whatever, and I'm sitting in my basement and I'm just facing a screen. And although it's not live, people will be watching this on YouTube. What if I say the wrong thing? Am I, have I destroyed Claudius Troil and the Jewish religion forever? Schmear. You're not afraid. You're not afraid of media. You like to be, to share your story. Why? Why? You're not afraid. You're not afraid.
So sharing the story and sharing other people's story is the common factor of, I truly believe that there's a thirst and a lot of people out there that are eager to learn. Not everybody goes through the traditional school system. Not everybody becomes very educated through college. So today it is through podcasting. Back in the day when I grew up, we listened to radio, and on radio, it was the radio host that decided what topic he's going to talk about and who he brought on as guest. And today it's podcasting. So you can pick and choose what channel and who you want to listen to. And then depending on who their guest is, you opt in or you opt out. So I love the storytelling. I believe that it's very valuable. Another valuable factor that I believe that it brings is that if you wanted to learn about me, because you want to reach out to me, you want to do business with me, you want to engage with me, you want to build a relationship, we have common interests out there. How do you know what my interests are if there isn't podcasting? So that's a great factor. And in my growth through positivity, I put an emphasis on bringing on people from leadership and people with many years of experience and people that are willing to share their story. Like you said, not everybody is willing to become vulnerable. Not everybody has a specific mission or topic that they're interested in sharing. I happen to luck out that I have all of those. So I figured podcasting is a good channel for me. So I do have to get back into it. I'm going to be honest that since I started in and on, that's where the time shift really shifted away from podcasting. But I got to get back onto it. Right now I have a mission to be on podcasts. So you're doing a great job.
I will have to ring the bell to the local podcast groups of Toronto and San Francisco that I've fallen into accidentally. You want to be on podcasts. Why is now the time for the host to become the guest? Elie, do tell us the change.
Yeah, so sitting on the other side of the aisle is, like you said, it really gives me an opportunity to share my story. Being a host is about listening, asking, and curiosity. I want to share the learnings that I've learned from interviewing so many people and how I was able to implement those teachings and the wisdom from every guest that I had. I learned something and I implemented it and I utilized, if it's the psychology behind it or the tool behind it or a direction or an experience. So it was fascinating for me. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm excited to be able to share that back and give it back into the story. And now that it's 5 years later, I'm gonna say, from the very beginning when I started interviewing others, I've grown tremendous and shifted my career. So I think that
Mm.
revolution factor allows me to go out and share the story from a new perspective, from a new way.
Fascinating, fascinating. And you are wearing a white shirt, you have a long flowing beard, you have all the trimmings, the yarmulke, all the trimmings of of an Orthodox Jewish guy. You are not wearing a baseball hat. You are not one who shaves his beard and changes his name to Steve. You you are proud to be a Jew, a practicing Jew, a religious Jew, a Jewish Jew. You why do you never hide your authentic, should we call it fruminess, Jewish religiousnesses?
It comes from actually my dad. My dad ingrained that with me from taking pride and doing the right thing and interacting with the highest level of respect and not judging anyone. That being said, it really gave me the stability and the confidence to be able to be an observant Jew and sit with the table with Gentiles and other beliefs and have common ground around whatever conversation we're having, and it flows because we're all there to learn from each other and help each other. And
Fascinating. Yeah, go on, go
yeah,
on, go on.
yeah, I just think I think it's something that I was brought up with, and it is fascinating, and it's simple. It keeps things simple. I don't change my guard regarding where I'm up to. I don't travel in 5 different suits. I wear the same long jacket, white shirt. If it's 95 degrees or not, it's still long sleeves. Every once in a while, maybe I'll roll them up. But I stay true to myself, of who I am, and the world really gets to know who Elie Goldring is. And Elie Goldring is Elie Goldring. If anybody ever took the disc profile out there from TTI, they have the natural Elie Goldring and then the career driven Elie Goldring. And some people come out with different scores. Mine happens to be identical. And that's what I love about it. I tell people you're going to get the raw Elie Goldring and the real Elie Goldring, no matter what the situation is. Now, not everybody can handle it. I'm not going to lie. There are some very, very different personalities than myself that it sucks the energy out. And I try very hard to surround myself by those that appreciate this type of energy and that live off this energy, because I love giving it and I get it back. The more I give, the more I get.
Fascinating, fascinating. And is it true that you're coming from, is it Lakewood, New Jersey? What's it like? What's the culture and the business world? What are things like there? I live in Toronto, Canada, where there aren't so many Orthodox Jews running around being so Orthodox. Everything's toned down. Everything's like mild. You are in the hot salsa of Jewish business. Do tell the beautiful stories. A little gossip, kosher gossip.
So gossip you're not going to get. I'm not a gossiper. I cut that out of my life a long
Mm.
time ago. But coming to Lakewood, New Jersey back in 1998, when I was 14 years old, it was a small town, about 3,000 Orthodox family, real suburbs, gorgeous, gorgeous weather. And I really had a good time here. I had my high school buddies. We all came back here after high school. We got married. We got settled here. It was a young, energetic, thriving community. It was great for my career. Started off and I worked for a friend of mine from my hometown, which is Muncie, New York, which is another great Jewish popular community. A little bit different than Lakewood, let's call it, for just the sake of population and culture wise. I love the small town, and it was thriving. So it's booming now. Here I am, hundreds and hundreds of successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and young new generation coming into the workforce, and it's very fulfilling over here. You know, my kids have a great education and neighborhoods. There's a huge variety of everything. You know, so for an ultra Hasidic Jew, it's the perfect fit outside of Yerushalayim Kodesh and Toronto. But if you like the weather and you're okay with the humidity, then it's a great place to be.
Fascinating. And to those who are coming from different cultures and backgrounds, how do you explain to someone that you ain't gonna work on Saturday and that you don't care about the dead queens and the dead presidents and the Skrilla? How do you explain that to anyone? Isn't that insane from their perspective?
So I would say that everybody has to be open to admire everyone else's beliefs. And if you're with that mindset, then it's how I was brought up. I'm proud to be a Jew. I'm a practicing Jew, always looking to learn, grow, and become better. And it's a great religion. You know, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun factors. Very community based, very family oriented, and that's really the only thing that I know because that's what I grew up with. You know, I grew up within the community, within the circles, went to all of the traditional schools, and I had a great experience. So it served me well.
To those who are a bit unclear, is it true that you are praying 3 times a day to a God you cannot see? What's that like?
So interesting enough, you know, I was having this conversation with another friend of mine just over this past weekend, and in business, some have a tendency to not be structured, let's call it. And I find actually that as an Orthodox Jew, it actually makes it a little bit simpler to be structured at work because of those traditions that we have. So praying 3 times a day, making a bracha before we eat something. What we don't tap into because intentionally or subconsciously, unintentionally, I should say, or subconsciously, we do things because it's the tradition, we were brought up in that way. Humans are systems. That comes from Stephen Chandler. He talks a lot about the fact that humans are systems. And because we're so systematic, by doing everything that we do, some more than others, like I said, intentionally or consciously versus subconsciously, it works very well for me. I love being structured, disciplined, organized, time sensitive, I call it. I try not to waste the time of the day that I don't belong in. You know, I'm the type of guy, my shoes are at the same place every morning when I get up. You know, I don't have a hard time in the morning choosing a tie and a belt and a type of pants and shirt. It's the same on. It's very synchronized, you know, my day. And my morning routine is the same. So it's about having that same routine, prayers, mikvah, for those that want to know about that. A different conversation, a different time, but daily mikvah and then prayers and then getting into the workforce, stopping the day to make sure to catch mincha before sunset, and then Ma'ariv before you go to sleep. It's 3 times a day. And then we have our traditional learning, the Jewish Bible or other Talmud and different things. So yeah, it's good. It's a good life.
Okay, you threw in the mikvah term. We don't. We must unpack and dive in this mikvah. Was is this a mikvah?
So let's keep it high level. What I would like to share about it is
Yeah, whatever you
that
like.
for the males in the Jewish sect of the Hasidim, it comes from the Hasidic background, let's call it, meaning the early days of Hasidic Torah learning, that an individual man should go every single day to the mikveh. It's a level of, I'm not sure how you say it in English, but to be matar yourself and to cleanse, I think is the word.
Cleanse.
Yeah, cleanse. So it's a cleansing. It's a daily cleansing routine. For me, it brings tremendous amount of clarity because I do what's called a 2-minute clarity break after the mikvah. So it gives me a fresh approach to the day, but it is a cleansing Hasidic tradition to do it daily.
Fascinating. And jumping a bit back into the beautiful wisdom of Steve Chandler, you were quoting, I believe, from, is it the Lessons from the Joy of Selling? You are a Steve Chandlerist. Why do you love Steve Chandler so much?
Steve Chandler is a genius. That's why I love him. He's a creator. He also shares his life experiences. Also went through his ups and downs till his 40s, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I got introduced to him by my coach, Mike Coates, and fascinating work. I mean, every book that I read, every podcast that I listened, every tool or method that Steve teaches comes truly from a spiritual, meaningful, impactful source. It's not just a flyby. It's not just a one-time experience and let the world go out and try it. And that resonated with me from a sense of his life story and the way he goes about specific things. And it worked very well for me. I love everything about what I learned from him. I teach a lot of his facts and his beliefs, and it's really impactful.
Amazing. And I am cheating a little bit on the computer next to me. I'm reading a quote. Sales is living. Selling is no different from enthusiastic and courageous living. Like living, it's based on creating interactive relationships. Master the art of selling, and you've mastered the art of enthusiastic living. Everyone lives by selling something. You can't escape this adventure. And another beautiful quote while we're on the topic. In sales, you are on a fast track to understanding people, what makes them tick. Doesn't that help you in your private life? Sales is about mastering the art of creating relationships. You are in an accelerated program for building self confidence and inner strength in the face of your people challenges. Nowhere else does it happen so quickly. Fantastic. Sales. You love sales. You love sales. Why? What is it about sales that makes Elie Goldring's gold ringing in his ears?
Uh, one great book that I have to share on here, that since you read a quote, 50 Ways to Create Great Relationships, which is a Stephen Chandler book. What do I love about sales is the challenge and the value that I'm providing. Interesting enough, I had a sales manager that followed me for months to be able to pick up that factor and learn it about me, because I didn't even know what is it that drives me. It wasn't the money. It wasn't the hype of the awarding of a new project. It wasn't the commission check. It was the solution providing, but where it was a solving someone's problem. So it's more of a problem solving to it versus just the solution providing. It's something that really drives me. I get a tremendous amount of energy from that, and that's what refuels me, I call it. People ask me, where do I get my energy? I say, from everybody around me. That's where I get plugged in and interact. And like I said before, a big piece of my life so far, almost half of my life, I felt disconnected or not able to achieve my wildest dreams. And then things turned around for me, and I was able to set boundaries and goals and strategies and achieve them. So Um, yeah, it's the satisfaction of a completion, but it comes from the sense of reinventing and providing a good direction or solution to a problem.
Fascinating, and a little bit more on the incredible work you're doing with the Hope organization. You are the visionary. Let me say that again. For the Hope organization, Elie, you are the visionary and the founder. What does why and how did that get started? You gotta spill all the kosher beans.
Yeah, so going back to 2015, I felt very, very satisfied and grateful that I've achieved in business what I've achieved. And I really wanted to give back to the community within Lakewood. That's where I built my career. That's where I was interacting with so many schools, businesses, and entities of eateries that I kind of saw this need to be able to help struggling families that have a financial setback due to a crisis. So I did some research and recognized that not too many organizations provide financial assistance. So I said, okay, let's be the creator of that. Like I said, sometimes I like to reinvent and sometimes I like, and I decided to launch it and start an organization. At the beginning, I was sitting in all seats, doing everything on my own. And then I learned how to delegate. And like you said, today I sit in the seat of visionary because I'm primarily driving the culture and problem solving the areas where there's setbacks for the organization. There is a CEO currently in place that is overseeing the entire organization with project managers and fundraisers and administrators. And it's grown to something much bigger than I would have been able to do on my own. And that's the beauty about a visionary and a founder is bring something, create something, and then let it grow bigger than what I would be able to do. If I would have held on to that and be the executor and the chief operating officer, it would not be around today.
Fascinating, fascinating. And you also, a bit cyber stalking you here on LinkedIn, you were involved very much, as you said before, with EOS. What is EOS all about?
EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, which is a framework of a set of tools that helps entrepreneurs get traction in their business. Most visionaries, founders, business owners get stuck in the weeds and find themselves lost in the day to day. Those that are a little bit bigger than that and have a large organization find themselves disconnected from their vision. EOS is a set of tools and a framework that allows you to set time up, bring your leadership team together, realign that vision, strengthen that, and then everyone gets clarity in regards to what's their role, what seat do they sit in, how does the data help us drive better decisions, identify where the issues are, solve them as they arise, document the processes, and then have weekly and quarterly and annual meetings to keep that cadence going. So it's an awesome, awesome operating system. I learned so much from an individual by the name of Tzvi Schwartz. He introduced it to me. I listened to the book because I don't read books. I listen to books.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. And I fell in love with the system because I love systems and processes. So I fell in love with it. And post COVID, I decided that I'm going to take it on as a challenge to learn it in order to teach it to others. I did that successfully for 4 years. And that's where the creation of In and On came about, is recognizing from my clients that it's not only the discipline or the tools or the framework that they're stuck. They actually also need help in the execution, from the sense that now that they have clarity and they have all the tools, they don't have all the right people and they're not big enough yet to hire someone specifically for a seat. So In the oversight and the operations side of it, In and On provides fractional people, project management, and areas where a typical business wouldn't put their focus. So some people are lacking in clarity around finance or in software or in other areas. And that's where In and On comes in to do project work and put those pieces together to allow people to get to the next step. And the reason why we call it In and On is because we get involved in the business to be able to build out on the business by helping the business owner get out of the weeds and be able to lead from the top his organization.
Fascinating, fascinating. And if someone's watching this right now on YouTube or LinkedIn, how do they know if they're the right client? What would be your ideal client, and what would there be the shidduch?
Okay, so the ideal client is a growth-oriented business owner that feels stuck. He's willing to change, learn, and grow. Typical size business, I would say, is anywhere between $3 and $15 million, where they went through some experiences and they recognize that they require some area of structure, clarity, building out systems, working on the vision, areas of finance or data. That's the ideal client for us. Anybody that's growth oriented and willing to change.
Fascinating. And I remember looking back, you were always talking about LinkedIn, and in your own podcast, you would always say, I did watch quite a few episodes and was on one. You'd always be like, I met Mike on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's good. You love LinkedIn. Why? What is so great for those who are not LinkedIning with 5,000, 10,000 followers? What is LinkedIn so great about?
LinkedIn for me made it possible what was impossible. When I was back in the day doing road sales, let's call it, boots on the ground, I was only able to get as far as I was able to drive. And if I didn't want to sleep out and sleep over somewhere, it limited my reach. LinkedIn gave me that open platform to be able to do business with anyone, anywhere, at any time, and at a very respectful way. So you request a connection, there's a certain interest or a willingness, that person connects, then you could private message. Again, you could learn about that person by looking at his bio, looking at his history, following what are his interests, right? Outside of work, does he follow any sports, right? Is he involved in any charities? So it filled a certain curiosity of mine in order to be able to help people achieve what they want to help. So huge fan of LinkedIn, use it wisely, intentionally. I do very much calculated time on it. I don't spend more than 15 to 20 minutes a day. I have others that are posting my social media, my content. I let others manage that. That's not what I love doing, so they do it for me. Extremely important, be consistent. The trick of LinkedIn is the consistency and the value add. So the more value you put out there, the bigger your horizon grows.
Fascinating, fascinating. Your answers are each better than so good. I have to keep coming up with more intricate questions. How come when you did a podcast, you always wanted to make it short, not 40 minutes, but 13 minutes? Why did you make that a cheshbon, that the calculation?
Yeah, so the calculation was that today's day and age, people want, the curveball 95 mile an hour pitch.
Yes.
And they want to be laser focused and get it done, like quick. So I figured shorter interviews, more variety of people, different background, different wisdom is a real good mix that would be very impactful to the audience. Typically, you're right, most interviews get into more of the details or very specific on a topic and typically run between 45 minutes to an hour. I watch some podcasts that are 2 to 3 hours long. Those are very deep conversations. The Diary, the CEO, for instance.
A classic. A cinematic. Sorry, go on. No, I was just saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, and the behind the scenes as well.
Yes, yes. So those are some that pique my interest, and I wanted to deliver a different type of value for those that enjoy short, quick, and have a large variety of different guests.
Fascinating, fascinating. And outside of LinkedIn, are there other, could it be called media or social media platforms that you feel are important to be exploring and devoting calculated time to?
Yeah, so I left that to the social media marketing individual that posts it, but these days it does go on to YouTube. It does get published on Spotify, and for the ultra acidic, it's on 24/6. So I have the same content spread on 4 different platforms right now.
24/6. Oh, give the pitch. Tell us all. For those who haven't heard it, can you give the spiel for how great 24/6 is?
Yeah, 24/6 is just a platform, I'm going to call it, where every age, male or female, can really enjoy their style of either podcasts and audio, music, in the Jewish circles where it's filtered and controlled in a certain sense by a parent or something like that. So it's really, really nice for youngsters to be able to have access to a wide variety, but very, very calculated. My child has one, and I'll be open to say that I'm amazed at sometimes things that he repeats back to say, oh, he listened to this talk and to this, conversation and different podcasts and different things that if you would just listen to some CDs that I bought, I don't think you would have access to that knowledge and wisdom. So it's really, really opened up for youngsters to really be able to be curious, which is a strong piece of me, and be out there, but not exposed to things that they don't need to be.
Beautiful. And going a little bit deeper into this, do you feel that, or what are your thoughts on the challenging intersection between media, be it podcasts or interviews or YouTube such shows, and the strong Jewish values which you and many others hold? How are we to walk this tightrope, if you will? It's a challenge. What say you upon this challenge?
I think we have to reflect and recognize what lens we see it through and embrace it and maximize it. That's the real aha moment, I'm going to say, to really be able to exercise it and to stretch it to its max capacity where it's in your advantage.
Incredible answer. And in the last minute we have of your precious time, a wise one, what would you say? What is your freestyle rap, if you will, minus the non kosher trimmings? What is your mantra? What is your rap to the future? Those people who are both younger than us, but also as ambitious. What say you to the 20-year-old, the 25-year-old guy, Jewish or not, male, female? What sayest you to them for what the future holds for creative, ambitious people?
Yeah, so I would say that now being the age that I am, looking back at my young 20 Elie Goldring, I probably would say spend more time on calculating your dreams, meaning do the research, learn about it, recognize the boldness or the future in regards to that thing that really, really drives you, and run with whatever drives you. Don't get too distracted. Um, One area just to touch on real quick for an example on this one, okay? I interviewed several different real estate brokers in Lakewood, and I asked them, do you have any idea in 2050 how many Hasidic, ultra Orthodox, or Orthodox Jews in Lakewood would require housing? And most of them had no idea because they've never thought 25 years out what that could look like. So I said, what a shame. You're in the real estate business and you're hustling, but you have no connection to the future. So calculate it. There happens to be 65,000 children that are going to graduate the school system. Let's call it the 17 years, if you want to say, of school on average. You have both sides of the aisle, the men and the females. So you're talking about 30 some odd people that are going to need housing over the next 25 years. And then they all looked at me like, wow, I didn't realize where we're going. So that's what I say about like a little bit of calculated. You know, if you're going to be driven about something and you have these big ambitious goals, put some facts to it, dive deeper into it, and then strategize and stay focused.
Fascinating. Oh, food for thought. I'm going to have to watch this 4 or 5 times. Amazing. Thank you, Elie, for taking the time to share all this wisdom. And it will be released shortly on the interwebs. And will bring kosher wisdom, perhaps in a place of darkness.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. And thank you for all those that are going to listen and be inspired.
Perfect. Amazing.